pull the strings, they control the world. And how much power does OPEC have?
Well, you use an interesting word, and it's cartel. We hate the word cartel in OPEC. And the reason is because cartel is defined as a setup that fixes prices, and it's a monopoly. And we don't want to be a monopoly.
But it does fix prices.
It doesn't fix the price, but it
Isn't
sets...
the whole point of it to set the price?
It sets the price according to the market's requirements. So we are very, very touchy in OPEC about the word cartel.
Right. But OPEC cartel it's almost like it's a kind of a common term, right?
Yes.
And it goes back to the 70s when the embargo and OPEC really has. I mean, has it changed in the way it functioned from back in the 70s when I think maybe it was rightly called a cartel then?
Even then we resented it.
But was it a correct term then?
No.
Has it changed the way it functioned since the 70s?
No, because it could be viewed as if we're not as strong as before. We are not as politicized as before. But it's in reality the same, because we do not fix the price. We let the market decide what is the price of oil. And therefore, we don't monopolize. And if there is an embargo, which I don't see that in the near future, it's going to be, again, not fixing the price, but preventing the flow of oil. And that's why the Persian Gulf area is so strategic, because if there is an embargo, if the Strait of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf is closed, then the jugular vein of the West is going to be affected. And that's where the importance of OPEC comes to the forefront.
Well, two summers ago, when oil prices went up to $140 a barrel, people are pointing their finger. A lot of people are pointing their finger at Saudi Arabia, specifically at OPEC in general, saying, "You guys did this. You guys are ramping up the price." I know that the Saudi oil minister went on 60 Minutes and said we had nothing to do with it. A lot of people have said it came from Wall Street. It came from futures trading, things like that. But is there? How did OPEC react when oil went to $140? Was there concern that the world is going to blame them?
In July 2007, I believe, it was $145. That was the peak ever. But at the same time, if you look at the history of OPEC and the price of oil, a year later, 2009, it went down to $35. When I was in OPEC, it was they were selling a barrel for $9. So, but look at the real term. One of the arguments that the OPEC ministers have is that, well, look, the price of Coca-Cola went up so much, why not oil? The price of, let's say, mineral water goes up, why not oil? This is the thing that OPEC people think, or OPEC ministers believe, is not justifiable. If there is inflation, it should also be inflation in terms of the oil price.
Yeah, although, I mean, using their numbers right now, even today's price, $70 a barrel, from $9 to $70, inflation hasn't gone up, on whatever, how many percent that is from when it was $9, right?
But in most countries, starting with the UK, France, even Canada, you pay twice as much taxes on it.
Right.
So the member countries of OPEC, the 12 members at the current time, they're not getting enough money. They're not getting the $72 or $76.
Right.
And most of it is for the taxes.
Right. But you can see people saying, look, Saudi Arabia can't private property here. They're making a lot of money on oil.
Absolutely.
Right. Saudi Arabia in particular, for instance, when oil was up in the $140 range, or when it was approaching that, the U.S. Secretary of Energy at the time went to Saudi Arabia and said, listen, this is very, very bad politically for you, politically for us, for the whole world. Can you please ramp up production to help bring the price down? Did they do that?
Partially. not as before.
So they weren't able to have the effect that they used to have.
Exactly, but that means, you know, how much the country needs the money itself, and how much power the United States could use to influence.
Do you mean that the Saudis didn't pump enough, or that they couldn't pump enough, or that pumping didn't necessarily bring the price down?
That's a good question, but I think they couldn't pump enough, because you can't go over 12 million barrels a day.
Because?
Not enough sources to do it. I mean, maybe they could expand. I mean, the Russians have 11 million, I think, but they're not in OPEC.
Right. Well, we're going to talk more about the price of oil, how much oil Saudi Arabia really has. Some people are saying, look, the world is really running out of oil. A lot more to talk about in a few minutes. More with Mr Touss Sepehr, formerly of OPEC, when we return.